the Amazon Web Services. Today we are going to cover about what is Amazon Web Services, overview of the Amazon products, the basic keywords for the Amazon, a security mechanism. So Amazon.com, or rather Amazon as a company, you all might know as Amazon.com, and for the people in US, you must be knowing what is Amazon.com. That's a service being offered by Amazon where it's a consumer or retail basis. There is another service from the Amazon.com, is a seller business. So as an end user, you can always sell your things from the Amazon.com. So you have a product like a watch company, you can sell, you are a small retail supplier, you want to sell your products, you can always sell on Amazon.com. Now in India, we have a Flipkart.com, similar concept from the Amazon, so you can do that. The third option from Amazon is which is coming up very good, and it's such a leading and it's a growing day by day, is a Amazon Web Services, which is IT infrastructure business from Amazon, or infrastructure as a service model offered by the Amazon, called Amazon Web Services. And a few of the products listed here, and Amazon has the offering for the infrastructure service model, like a networking offerings, storage services, elastic compute cloud, compute services, content delivery services. At the same time, there were some of the past offering like the database services, payment services are also with the Amazon. And we will see most of the service, not most, all of the services of the Amazon in a brief today. Now, why Amazon? I'll start with my famous, my example, which I like the most. I take the example of a CNN.com very frequently. So I take an example like Obama, the American team killed Osama, and Obama come and announce that, okay, guys, we have killed Osama, and America is free from the terrorist threat. Now, what would be the people's first reaction? They would be either tuning to the TV or they would be tuning to the website to read the news. So I take the case of the CNN.com. The CNN.com has a normal user hit of around 100,000. Again, just a hypothetical number from me. 100,000 users coming regularly from CNN. So that's a blue line you can see here. There would be some 100,000 users normally regularly using their application requirement. Now, suddenly, Obama announced, okay, we have killed Osama bin Laden. People flooded to the CNN site. And the CNN traffic from 100,000 keep on going, 200,000, 300,000, it reached to 1 million users, almost 10 times, because everybody was curious. What happened behind the doors? What was the reason? How did they kill? Everybody was going there. So their infrastructure, which was capable enough to serve 100,000, now they had some scalability available, so they could serve up to 200,000 or 500,000. Now the request is 1 million users. What would happen? There is a likely chance that infrastructure would fail over there because it cannot sustain the load of the 1 million users, because they don't have the capacity plan up to 10 times. They would have planned up to 2 or 3 times. Now what could have they done over here? One of the options would be that they might have, from the 2000 or 2002 I believe, when Obama came to power, they might have anticipated that one day he will kill Osama and our site would be flooded with the more traffic. So let's plan from the beginning, and we might have a 1 million hit someday. So let's that capacity in a plan. So that's a blue line over there. You see, they would have a plan something like that, and then it would be in an ideal a scenario for them where they would have a lot of idle infrastructure, where normal hit is 100,000, 900,000 infrastructure is normally idle line. But it could serve them when there is a huge peak, and that could be benefited for them. But that's not a good case, right? Because you are wasting a lot of infrastructure, you are wasting a lot of cost. Now from 2001 to 2013, there would be a lot of infrastructure upgrades. So you need to keep on doing those infrastructure upgrades, those maintenance costs. Everything would be keep on coming, and you don't like that, right? So the solution for you would be, what can you do here? Using cloud. So you have some requirement, would be like something red line of kind of a scenario, which is your requirement. So someday you have 100,000, in the night you have 50,000, then you suddenly have a 200,000, then again come back to 150,000. So your load is very variable. What you can do is, one is you procure an infrastructure of 100,000, then someday you procure infrastructure of 500,000. You keep on adding, but the most of the time your infrastructure would be idle. That is a green line showed over here. But if you go with the cloud provides a on-demand scalability or elasticity. So whenever the load increases, cloud would add more resources. Whenever the load decreases, cloud would reduce the resources. So you can see the red and the yellow line going in parallel. So that's your actual demand and what the Amazon would be doing with you. So Amazon can add more resources as and when required. They can reduce the resources as and when required. This way, CNN could save a lot of cost. So their traffic on their site would be for 2 days only. So they don't need to plan from 10 years before. They would be planning considering that whenever my load increases, keep on adding more and more servers. If it reaches and a certain threshold, keep on adding. Once it starts decreasing, keep on decreasing the server also. And Amazon provides the automation tools for that. So that will save you for that part. So that's why Amazon infrastructure would be much better for you. It would be helping you save a lot of cost here. Amazon, a tremendously growth story. And this is even I have heard from the one of the workshop from which I attended from Amazon in 2011, and even that this has been written on Amazon's one of the presentation also. They say that when Amazon.com was a leading retail provider in 2002, they were one of the largest online retail service in the world, and they were almost $2.76 billion company at that time. Whatever the infrastructure they must have, might be 500 servers or 1,000 servers, whatever they must have that time, those kind of infrastructure they are adding every day to their Amazon data center. Every day they are adding this kind of infrastructure. So now you can imagine what is that and what I was talking about, the infinite infrastructure you can get from. And when you go for a private cloud, you may not be able to afford that. So that's why people go with the Amazon, because they provides you virtually unlimited resources. Now, how do I start with this? I think Amit or somebody asked me in the beginning, do I need my own account Amazon? Yes, you would need your own Amazon account. And you can, how do you get an Amazon account? It's like you go to the Amazon site, you sign up for that. When you sign up for that, you have to provide your credit card. So you provide your credit card information over there, and you sign up for whatever the service you want to use it. Now the thing would be, Amazon would just validate your card. So they may post you a $1 or 60 rupees or whatever Indian rupees charge on your credit card just to authorize that. They will not charge your credit card at the end. So they will not call your bank and they will not get same amount from your bank. So at the first day or for a week, you will see the charge of a $1 or 60 rupees or whatever, now 70 rupees charge on your services over there. But same thing would not be in a real, they will be charging. It's just for your authorizing for the part. The good part would be Amazon would charge you only when you start using its services. So you start some server and you start using it, you launch a virtual machine, you using it, you would be paying for that. Unless you start some service, Amazon would not charge you. The good part again coming up is Amazon offers a lot of free services. So they offer some kind of resources which you can access freely for up to a year. So which would help you do all the demos, all the POCs or all the learnings without incurring any cost. And we will see what are the services available to you on free. So you can try with that. So you need to register with Amazon. Even our Edureka site has a document available. How can you sign up with Amazon? But you can always use that. Or you can use the free service for that. Right, Amit? Thanks for that your comment. So this clarifies your cloud. Very important definitions from the Amazon. Note out these parts. I would be, when we are going in our session, this kind of a definition would come on the day in, day out with you. AMI is a Amazon Machine Image, is your software configuration pack or a bundles of a software. Now what do I mean by? If you are familiar with the Windows, you might have heard a term called a ghost image. A ghost image is a kind of a scenario which would have some kind of a inbuilt software already available with your operating system. So you just go to the fresh machine, when you format it, you install that ghost image. So along with your operating system, if the ghost image is a office software, it has a security software like a virus scanner, those would automatically deploy part of that. Amazon Machine Image is a similar concept. It comes with a pre-configured or bundled software available with it. So from AMI, you select an AMI, you launch a virtual machine. That virtual machine is called an instance. That instance is nothing but a virtual server available over the internet. Now, the advantage would be, when you launch from the AMI, it would have all the softwares or the OS of that AMI available inside. So take an example, you have a Tomcat server or an AMI which is a Tomcat server, MySQL database, PHP installed with that, and Linux operating system. When you launch an instance from that, that instance or virtual machine would have Tomcat, MySQL, PHP already installed in it with the Linux as an operating system. So you, from your AMI, you will launch a virtual machine that is called an instance. From an instance, now when you have an instance, you need to make a data also persistence. Persistence means you have some database server available in your virtual machine. Whatever the data is stored in database, you want to make it a persistence. How can you make it a persistence? For that, Amazon provides a concept called a volume. A volume is nothing up. You're a USB drive, a plug and play USB drive kind of a scenario. So you can connect that volume to an instance and you can make all data persistence over there. So even if your instance is terminated or lost, your data would always survive that and it will be persistent. Now, the advantage of volume would be, as I said, it's a plug and play USB drive. So today you have added to one instance, you can take it back and add it to another instance, take it back and add it to another instance. So you can always copy the data, make the data available across different instances, make data more persistent. So that's the concept of volume. Volume is nothing but a storage service provided by the Amazon to make data more persistent. It's a plug and play kind of a device. To make data more persistent, more durable rather, I would say, Amazon provides a concept called snapshot. So from volume, you can take a snapshot and that snapshot would be stored in a more durable service called Amazon Simple Storage Service. Once it is stored in a simple storage service, it would be more durable, and the advantage would be from that snapshot, you can always recover back a volume. So that snapshot is always stored in a storage, but advantage of the snapshot would be you can always create another volume from that. So you have a one volume of 8 GB which is having some data to a database. Now you want to replicate data. How do you create another volume with the same kind of information? You take a snapshot and from that snapshot you create another volume. So what are the standard use cases of the Amazon would be the backup and archive. We saw that when you want to store your data over there, you want to take a backup of that. It's a very good for your application hosting. You can use any of the application over there. We will see in today's demo. It's a very good for the media sharing when you want to share your media. Instagram, you might have Facebook purchased it. Instagram is using Amazon Web Services. Netflix is using Amazon Web Services. Media distribution, so content distribution is also that. The academic computing, a lot of research lab across the USA are using Amazon Web Services because they want to use Amazon Web Services in such a way that they can use Amazon for their research purpose. So they need some high computing processing. So they need 128 GB server just for 5 minutes. For them, the Amazon comes very handy. Very good for a search engine, for the social networking. I think the Zynga was using, now Zynga has moved to their own cloud, but Zynga was initially using Amazon. The scalable application, that's an ideal scenario to use for Amazon. And for SaaS and PaaS hosting, so you want to make your own SaaS or you want to make your PaaS, you can use the Amazon. Going further, a very good concept to note is the regions and zones. Amazon EC2 provides the ability to place instances. Now you know what do I mean by instances, a virtual server in multiple locations. Now what do I mean here is by multiple locations means Amazon has a multiple data centers across the world. It has 9 data centers across the world and those are called regions. Those data centers are regions. Now does it mean each data center means a region? No. A group of data center in certain part of a continent is called a region for them. So Amazon has 9 data centers. They are in US East, that is in North Virginia, in US West, that is in North California, in Oregon, in Australia, in Sydney, Australia means in Sydney, in Tokyo, Singapore, in Ireland, and in South Polo, that's South America. They have 8 major regions available. Now these regions would have more than one data centers. The data center could be, means they are called availability zones, and availability zones means they are like a virtually separated data centers from the Amazon. Now virtually separated means they would have a separate electric power, they would have a separate network service provider, they would have a separate physical servers. So it may happen that 2 availability zone, it may, I'm not saying it is, it may happen that 2 availability zones like availability zone A and B, they both are part in a same physical location, but they both would have a separate kind of a electricity supply. They would have a separate kind of a network supply. The advantage would be, so if one of the electricity supplier goes down, or one of the network service provider goes down, or another service provider infrastructure goes down in one scenario, the another availability zone is available for you, and that would enable your application to be highly available. So Amazon's concept of zones and regions are very important. A region would have a multiple availability zones, and all the services are Amazon as per region only. So the whatever service we go now in a 2-3 slides, they all would be as part of the regions, and within regions there would be multiple availability zones who are serving your requested. So for you, when you are designing an application, you always try to design your application which is to, or deploy your application which is near to you. So you are in a US East part, you try to deploy your application in US East region, while if you are in India, you try to deploy in a Singapore because it's the nearest region to you. The reason would be it would have a less latency, so performance would be better for you. Now an interesting question from Shashi, why not in India? I believe the India is not a too good growing market for Amazon. Amazon see much more value in the US and Europe and all that, and they have a high usage from those countries, and that could be the reason. Again, I am not the decision maker for Amazon, so I don't know, but I believe that is the reason, because when I spoke with one of the representatives of Amazon, similar question I asked him also in 2011, and I said, why don't you have a data center in India? And he said that India is in their mind and it's in their global focus area, but it's not in a top priority because they have a China and other where there the user base is much higher, and that is why they would be trying to focus more over there, and then they would come to India. Again, I may be right, may not be right, but that's the reason. One more, the region would be the US government cloud. That's for the where you want to create an application for the US government. You have to follow certain standards. Based on that, you have to follow certain security standards and everything. So Amazon has created another region called US government cloud. It's not available to everyone. This region you have to request Amazon, and then it would make available for you. Apart from that, the 8 regions are available to you, and they have a multiple availability zone. So US East has a 5, West has a 3, West 2 has a 3, APEC, the Australia has a 2, so different availability zones are available to you. So remember the concept of regions and zones, it's a very important, and going forward we will see also in a demo the regions, but keep this in mind because that what makes your application highly available. I mean highly available because if one region, one data center availability zone goes down, does not mean the second availability zone also goes down. So you can always fall back your application on the second availability zone. Yeah, there could be a scenario like a tsunami case where your complete region goes down. In that case, you can always make your system more high available by making a disaster recovery plan, making your application also available in a different region also. Right? So Amazon characteristic, availability and reliability. It's a highly available system due to this availability zones and regions concept. It's a more reliable because it provides a high durability, high security, all the standards. It provides a unlimited power, unlimited infrastructure, so it's a much scalable, elasticity. The performance is excellent. If you want to download, I have downloaded a lot of things. You go to the Amazon site, I launch an instance, and if I try to download, you try to download a Tomcat server from your internet service provider, you must be working on 500 kbps or 1 mbps or something, 2-3 mbps. You try to download, it would take around 5 minutes or 7 minutes based on your speed. In Amazon, it takes a minute or less than a minute. It's a tremendous infrastructure available to you. It's a pretty flexible because it offers you a lot of kind of a programming APIs. We will see that. It offers you a lot of options also that. It's a much secure in a way because Amazon, I would say why it's secure, I'll cover in that in upcoming slides. Now, Dilip has a question, will it cost additional if we use dual availability zones? Yes, if you host your application in your multiple availability zone, it would cost you. So that's the trade-off you want to make, whether you want to make it highly available or you want to trade off your cost. So that would be the cost part. But as many zones you use, you mean to say, or rather I would say, when you are using multiple zones means you are hosting your application in multiple zones. So you are launching a one virtual server or instance from availability zone A, another server in availability zone B, and those both servers, so it's always available to you, and the load is distributed across those 2 servers. But you are paying for both the servers because you are using 2 servers over here. Amazon services. So a complete list of that. Amazon Web Services. It offers this many products. Now we will start with the first would be computer networking. That is the middle in the first row. The middle part, computer networking. We'll touch upon most of the products briefly today. So first we'll start with the EC2, that is an Elastic Compute Cloud. It provides you virtual servers or virtual machine, what we call as an instances, that is a EC2. It provides you with virtual servers. Elastic Load Balancer offers you a load balancing services. So when you have a multiple users coming up and you want to distribute your load to multiple instances or multiple EC2 servers, you can use the Elastic Load Balancer. You can use the auto scaling. Auto scaling is a key aspect. So when you want to scale up your resources automatically, so when you have an increase in load, you want that when my CPU utilization goes beyond 50% or when my network IO increases more than 30%, add more resources, add more to EC2 instances. You use the service called auto scaling for that. So you configure certain triggers and parameters for that, and based on that, it would automatically add new resources for that. VPC is a virtual private cloud, is used to make your a hybrid cloud kind of a scenario. So, or even you can make your own private cloud kind of a scenario where you can, it would be your own subnet of the networks computers, which would be accessed through either your infrastructure or through a VPN token. You can configure that part. Elastic MapReduce is an Hadoop offering from Amazon. So it's a managed Hadoop services from the Hadoop Amazon. The Direct Connect is a network service offering from Amazon, where for US, Europe, and I believe in Tokyo, they have a service available where you can directly connect from the internet service provider. You would have a direct internet connection between Amazon data center to internet service provider to your organization. So you don't have to go through public internet. Instead, you would have a dedicated direct connect with that. Route 53 is a scalable domain name system. It's like a phone direct or a domain name service. It's like a phone directory of the domain name. So where it would be like you have a google.com that maps to certain IP address. That kind of a service is provided by the domain name system. And Amazon has an offering called Route 53 for that. Going for the storage and content delivery, Amazon Simple Storage Service is a virtually unlimited storage available to you. It's a kind of a storage for the static content. You want to store your pictures, HTML files, CSS files, PHPs, or the image files, videos, anything static content you can store over there. Elastic Block Storage is nothing but we talk about the volumes. That is called an Elastic Block Storage. It is for your persistence data storage. It is what used normally for your database systems or for data which you want to be more persistent. CloudFront is a global content delivery network which is offered through almost 40 plus edge locations available with the Amazon. So where you would be streaming would be more or less latency would be. So Amazon has a 40 plus edge locations, including one in Chennai and one in Mumbai. So whenever you are requesting a data which is hosted on Amazon Simple Storage Service, a video, if you are accessing from India, it would be from Amazon Storage Service S3, it would be copied to the edge location of Mumbai and it would be served from there. If you are requesting from US, from Amazon Simple Storage Service, it would be copied to the edge location of US East and it would be served to you. So CloudFront is a content delivery network. You might have heard a word called Akamai. Akamai is another offering. It's a direct, CloudFront directly competes with the Akamai. Glacier is an archival service from the cloud. So where it's you want to store an objects in Amazon for a longer purpose which you don't need to access frequently, just for archival purpose, you can use Glacier for that. Storage Gateway Service is for integrating your on-premise IT with the cloud storage. So you have some data available in your in-house IT and you want to keep a backup of that data for disaster recovery or for any other purpose on Amazon Cloud. You can use Storage Gateway. So in Storage Gateway, it would all keep on copying the data from your on-premise data to the Amazon Simple Storage Service or Amazon Elastic Block Storage. Amazon Import and Export is a service to ship the large data set. So suppose you have terabytes of data and you want to upload to your database in EBS, or you want to upload to Amazon Simple Storage Service. Now if you start uploading from your internet, it would take days and it would cost you also a lot of money. Amazon provides an option where you can physically ship a hard disk or disk drive or CD DVD drive to Amazon Web Services, and they will copy the data to the specific location, means any directory or the Amazon S3 location you specify, they will copy there. So these are the storage and content delivery service from the Amazon. Now coming from the database, Amazon has a 4 kind of a database services. First is a RDS, that is a relational data service, that is a completely managed database offered by Amazon. So a database offered by Amazon like Oracle, MySQL and MS SQL. Those are the 3 currently database offered by Amazon, which are managed by the Amazon itself. So you don't need to deploy the database, you don't need to manage anything. It's already pre-tuned or pre-configured with the right parameters for you. Also Amazon offers 2 kind of a no SQL database. Now no SQL means not only SQL, which follows the different kind of a key value or which does not follow the ACID properties of the RDBMS. So Amazon offers 2 no SQL databases, DynamoDB and SimpleDB. Also Amazon offers a in-memory cache service like Memcache, that is called ElastiCache. Recently Amazon started, recently means almost 6-8 months back, a data warehouse service which is able to data warehouse up to petabytes of the data, that is called Amazon Redshift. So these are the services for the database. Also if you go on a deployment and management part, you have a cloud formation, that is on the right hand top side. The cloud formation is a template based Amazon Web Service resource creation. So where you would be creating it would be help you to create resources and deploy automatically based. So it's a pre-configured stepwise approach for you. CloudWatch is used for monitoring of your resources. You can monitor your EC2 instances, your RDS database, your EBS volumes, your auto scaling service, your load balancer. Those are the different kind of a service you can monitor with the CloudWatch. Data pipeline is orchestration for the data driven workflows. So when you have a data driven, so from one service you want to initiate the another service, you use the data pipeline. It's for the orchestration from one workflow to pass to the another workflow. Elastic Beanstalk is a direct compare, I can say, with the Google App Engine. It's a Amazon's PaaS offering, which is available for the Tomcat, Java, PHP and .NET right now. Offers those kind of a 3 servers, so it would be taking care of your scalability, the management, all kind of a requirement for that. Identification and access management, that is an IAM, is for secure Amazon controls. So you can create different groups, users, and define the controls for them so they can access as per that. Amazon OpsWorks is a DevOps application management service. So you can use the Chef or Chef kind of a scripts over there. So Chef recipes over there, and you can create the stepwise approach to deploy different kind of Amazon instances, the software over there. Cloud HSM is a hardware-based key storage for compliance. So where Amazon provides a hardware-based key to you, and for your storage compliance purpose, it is available to you. In a cloud application base, these are the more kind of a PaaS offering again from Amazon, where a cloud search is a managed search service for you. It's a kind of a Solar tool. If you have heard about Solar search, it's almost similar to that cloud search, which you can use to do a search within your application. Elastic Transcoder is for transcoding your application. So easy to use, scalable media transcoding, Elastic Transcoder for that part. Amazon Simple Email Services is for sending email to the Amazon, email sending service from the Amazon, where you want to send a bulk emails. When you want to send the thousands and the hundreds of thousands of emails at a go, you use the Simple Email Service. Simple Notification Service is available to you when you notify to the user. So some trigger has happened, your load has gone beyond 50% of CPU utilization, or your network IOS increase certain. You can use Simple Notification System, which can email you, or even in the US it can send an SMS also. Simple Queue Service is like a message queue service offered by Amazon. You might have heard called RabbitQueue or AMQP, ActiveMQ. This is kind of a similar service. So Simple Queue Service is a queuing protocol offered by the Amazon. Simple workflow service is a workflow service for the coordinating of the app components. So when the one app function is completed, start the next function. The second task is completed, start the two more parallel tasks. So completely workflow management system. Like if you have heard called the word BPMN, that's a business process management notification. Similar kind of a workflow system available from Amazon. So this is the list of the, I would believe, almost all products of the Amazon. And we are going to cover these topics in our course, where this would be more like we would be covering S3, EBS, EC2, those kind of options with them. Also, we would be talking about the ELB, auto scaling, the CloudWatch over there. Also, we would be talking about the management console, SDKs. What is that? That we would be talking about the RDS and the DynamoDB. We would also touch base CloudWatch, and then we will little bit touch upon that part of the we will little bit touch upon the Elastic Beanstalk and IAM over there. Accessing the Amazon provides the 4 options. First is the Amazon Management Console, a GUI tool or GUI tool offered by Amazon, which offers almost all services except 1 or 2. So using that, you can use EC2, you can use load balancer, you can use S3, you can use the VPC, everything you can do with the Amazon Management Console. And it's a pretty easy to use tool, self-expanding most of the tasks. You can do that. We will see the demo of the Amazon Management Console today. Also, it offers the web services based APIs. So it offers the REST and SOAP based APIs also for accessing your applications. Apart from that, Amazon also offers the Amazon command line interface. So you are a Linux fan, you are a Mac fan where you don't like to use the console. You just want to work on the command line interface. For those kind of users, Amazon also offers command line interface. So using that, you can use the all Amazon services which are accessible through Amazon Management Console. And if you want to develop your own application which uses Amazon services, so you want to develop an application which uses Amazon Simple Email Service, or you want to develop an application which launches an Amazon EC2 instance or deploy an application on that, Amazon provides the SDKs for that. And Amazon has the currently available for .NET, Java, PHP, Python, Ruby, those kind of a programming language already supported by the Amazon for their SDK. So these are the 4 ways through which you can access your Amazon Web Services. Now, Amazon security part. So how would be the security management at the Amazon? So how does the Amazon normally EC2 instance isolation would be working? The physical interface would be the physical infrastructure available from Amazon. On top of that, Amazon would have its own firewall. So anything which is going out of the infrastructure, so anything going out of the network and anything, it has to pass through this firewall. That is Amazon's own firewall, not in your control. So Amazon would put that firewall to ensure the data is secure. Nobody can access your data. Now, what would happen that on top of that, Amazon allows the users to define their own firewalls also. So that is called Amazon security groups. Now security groups would be kind of a rules you would allow. It's a kind of an ingress rule. Ingress means incoming rules you would allow. So any request, you open up ports for certain kind of a request. So you say, okay, open port 80 for my requirement. So any request coming from the external world, it would come through the network to the physical interface, then it would pass to the firewall, and then it would come to the customer one security groups. Now if that customer one has opened 80 port, then only it will allow to go to the ahead. If the customer one has not opened the security port 80, it would not allow it to go ahead. Second part after the security group, that is your virtual firewall, is a virtual interfaces. The virtual interfaces is like here, on top of that you define your hypervisors. So you define the interfaces for the APIs and everything. So what is the call over there. And then there is a Zen hypervisor used by the Amazon, which you would be using it. And using that Zen hypervisor, Amazon creates the virtual machine or instances. So customer 1, customer 2, customer n is nothing but a virtual instance or virtual machine, which is an instance. Now, what would happen that whenever an instance is launched, Amazon also attach a virtual MAC address with each instance. So whenever a request is going out of that instance, a MAC address would always, that virtual MAC address would always be attached to that. And whenever the request comes back, a virtual MAC request would be always attached to that. So the advantage would be, if a request is sent for a one tenant, based on its MAC address, it would always be redirected to that tenant only. It would never be redirected to other tenant. So sharing of data would never happen because the data is separated tenant wise using that virtual MAC address. Clear? Going ahead. This concept of the security groups is very important. So how it would be working for you, the security part. So Amazon allows, taken a 3-tier application or multi-tier application where you have a web tier, application tier and database tier. For each, you would have a EBS volume or elastic block storage data available to you. You would, first you have a web application which is your Apache. Your application tier is the, which is your application server, would have a Tomcat web server. Now in the database, you have a MySQL database, and then your everything is stored on EBS volume. So what you would do is, if you go back to the previous slide, the customer one security group, that is a virtual, this complete firewall shown is in orange blocks. So this would happen that in for web tier, you have open ports 80 and 443 only for HTTP and HTTPS. Now what would happen is that whenever you send that request to on port 80 to web tier, it would be allowed to bypass. And if you are sending requests from any other port, that is 22 or some other port, it would not allow to access that web tier. So all your HTTP or HTTPS requests would be sent to the web tier. Then what would you do? Internally, for that application tier, you open the ports only for the web tier. So web tier would have some specific IP address. So in your application tier, you open the port 22 or 80 or 443, whatever you want to open for that special web tier only. So what would happen that any request which is coming from that web tier, only it can access the application tier on port 80. If the request is coming directly from the internet, it cannot access the application tier. Right? Now, same way, you have a MySQL database which is accessible on 3306 port. So from application, you open a port, security group port 3306 on database tier, which is having which allow only application tier IP. So any request coming from the application tier IP on port 3306 with the application tier IP is allowed to access the database. Any other IP is not allowed to access that. So now if any user wants to access the database or the application tier directly, they cannot access it. What about the admins? If the admin wants to access, they want to access the port 20, they want to deploy the application, they want to do. You can specify that, okay, this is my IP address, this is a fixed IP address for me. So only for this IP address, open port 22 in application tier. So I can do telnet or SSH over there and I can install the application. But apart from 22, do not open other ports. So this way, you would make your application much secure. So from outside world, no one can access you. So this is how you can manage the multi-tier security. Now coming to a question, so virtual MAC address is always part of HTTP request and response? No, the virtual MAC address will not be part of always of the HTTP request response. What would happen? That when the HTTP request comes to the physical interface, there it would be mapped with that virtual MAC address. And from that it would be redirected using that customer one and then it would be going back. And again, Amazon does not provide complete information whether that mapping is happening at the physical interface or virtual interface. So either at virtual interface or either physical interface, there would be a mapping for that MAC address and the instance IP. So the request is always coming for the HTTP request for the IP only. Now if you just take an example that MAC address mapping is happening at the virtual interface. So request would come that from HTTP access IP 10.10.10.1. So it would be coming to your physical interface, then firewall. Then it says that for the IP 10.10.1, it is allowing this 80 port, it would go ahead. Now virtual interface identify that and make it to the right MAP address, and then it would redirect request to the customer one only. It would not be redirect to the customer. Where this mapping happens, that is not shared by the Amazon. Going ahead, so Amazon also do take care of a lot of security standards. So Amazon has a lot of security accreditations like a SOC 1, SOC 2, SOC 3, PCI DSS level, ISO 27001. Now I don't want to go in each definition. You can always go what does this mean by certification, what does it follow that. But if you want to know about more Amazon security, I would recommend go through aws.amazon.com/security. There are a few white papers available from Amazon and very good white papers to read. So I recommend, even after module 6, I would recommend the same thing. Go through those white papers. They should give you how Amazon is managing the security, how it's being handled, and how you feel more secure with Amazon. Now, why Amazon? So Amazon has recently published a very good article that at aws.amazon.com/choosing a cloud platform, which says why should you choose Amazon? And for each point, they have given a very good reference for each description about also. I'll go briefly. So global infrastructure across 8 regions with almost 15 to almost 18 to 20 availability zones. It is available. Massively scalable, almost virtually unlimited scalable power available. It provides a content distribution with the almost 40 plus edge locations across the world. Managed DB service like the DynamoDB, RDS. Very easy to deploy and manage. It has also the big data offering with the database, data warehousing service, as well as the Hadoop with the EMR. Ecosystem for other products, software solution provider. So you want to make your own SaaS, you want to make your own, and important aspect, ecosystem of other products. Here it talks about a marketplace. Like you have a software, Amazon has a tied up with the big service providers. So they are tied up with the Microsoft, SAP, Oracle, and those softwares are available to you on a pay-as-you-go model. So a lot of SAP softwares, so you must be knowing SAP licenses must be costing something in the hundreds of $1,000s. Now those license, some of the modules, not all, but some of the modules of Amazon or SAP are available on Amazon on a pay-as-you-go model. Now recently data warehouse offering from SAP or BI offering from SAP is called HANA, which is very popular, and I believe it goes to up to $200,000 or $500,000, some license cost of that, which is available on Amazon as a $1 per hour rate. So if you use for 10 hours for your learning purpose, you would be paying only $10. You do not need to buy a separate license. So they have an ecosystem for Oracle, Microsoft. They have tied up with a lot of others like Informatica, and you would go for that. So you can go to aws.amazon.com/marketplace and you will find a lot of service providers. It is a flexible support model, so starting from free to the paid service. So free, it would take some more time to answer, where though the gold or platinum service, where it would be available immediately to you. So different kind of support models also available. Now why Amazon? A very good article recently published that was on a venturebit.com. I just got a reference from that. So just how big is Amazon? So in 2012, it was almost $2 billion company, which is anticipated to be almost double, 3.8 billion by 2013, while 2015 it is supposed to be 8.8 billion. Currently, it occupies almost 32% of our infrastructure service market. So can you imagine? It's almost 32% only Amazon and 68% of the rest of the AWS market. Now also about the capacity. In 2012, if you see at the bottom, there were almost 6.8 million users, or the hosting part over there, number of websites hosted on Amazon, while in 2013 it is supposed to be almost 11.6 million websites hosted on Amazon. So this is how it's growing up. And very good statistics again, where it says number of websites hosted on Amazon computers, where the 50% of the Amazon site is hosted on a US region, 9% in South America, 1% in Africa, 17% customers are from the Europe, 17% from the Asia, 5% from the Australia also.